Welcome back, Knights of Apollo, to another 4v4 Napoleon Total War 3 battle. Today we have a historical scenario, so it's a historical recreation of the Battle of Buçaco, which was fought on the 27th of September 1810 during the Peninsular War in the Portuguese mountain range. Now, this was part of this is actually the third Portuguese campaign by the French, so essentially the third invasion by the French. And the French are trying to dislodge a Anglo-Portuguese army and push them out, essentially. Now, so the French were on the attack. Now, if we're looking at the strengths of these armies, starting with the Anglo-Portuguese forces, at the highest estimate, they were roughly at 35,765. So here's a visual representation. We're using the game Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator, where you can have armies at the size of millions, and this is roughly what that would have looked like. Now, if we look at the French side, the highest estimates have them at 58,000 strength, much larger, and you can just tell again by looking at this visual representation. Now, the battle was won by the Anglo-British forces. They used superior positioning. This is a very mountainous area. And of course, they had leading the army was the defensive genius himself, Duke of Wellington. He used the reverse slope defense. Essentially what that is that you put your army on the slope of a hill rather than the top of the hill. That protects your men from artillery fire and long guns like rifles. It also hides how many troops you have. So the French have to get very dangerously close to see even what the defenders are looking like. And it led to a victory for, of course, the Anglo-Portuguese forces. Now, if we look at the casualties, so this includes dead or wounded, starting again with the Anglo-Portuguese, they lost 1,356 men. That doesn't mean all of them died, but some died and some were wounded to the point where they couldn't fight on. And then looking at the French dead or wounded, at the highest estimate, 4,500. A much larger amount of forces, again, either dead or wounded. It was a pretty clear victory for the Anglo-Portuguese army. So guys, let's go ahead and relive this battle virtually and see if the French can change history, or perhaps the Anglo-Portuguese army will be inspired by the spirit of Duke of Wellington and make sure to keep those pesky French out of Portugal. Let's find out, guys. Get some snacks and drinks and enjoy the Battle of Buçaco. All right, guys, so here we go, the start of the battle, and you can see some glorious Highlander troops marching with their kilts and the beautiful flag here, the Union Jack, and it's a sight to behold. Now, usually when I start these NTW3 battles, I have to fast forward quite a bit of the beginning because the maps are so massive. I would say this is actually on the smaller side of these maps because, well, the French spawn fairly close to the British, so I don't think we're gonna have to do too much fast forwarding here. Now, I do want to kind of spend some time here and explain the rules of this battle, and it's LOCs, standing for line of communication. And the way these LOC battles work is that it's not necessarily about utterly crushing your enemy to where they're fully routing. That is one way to win, but it's not the way to win. And that is by the way to win is by having more points at the end of the battle than your opponent. How do you get points? Well, you capture strategic locations. You can see on the minimap here at this point is worth 1 point. We've got another building. Oh, I just went a little underground here. We got another building over here, which is right here, which is worth 1 point. And really, I think what you need to win this battle is 3 points. And to get 3 points, you have to go take this building right here, if I am not mistaken. This is going to be a big fight for this building. But it actually looks like the British are taking a defensive stance here. Maybe It might be in this rules the French have to fight to take these two sections. That might be the rule here, because remember, this is a Anglo-Portuguese defensive battle, historically speaking. So we'll see how this battle plays out. But yeah, just keep in mind the point system for these strategic locations, and it will be really interesting to see what the French do here, because the French technically already have this building in their control because it's on their side of the deployment. They also have this building as well. So, you know, they already have 2 points. If they take this one, it would be 3. So we'll see what happens. Now let's go back over to this way, because we are getting our first visual of the French army coming out of the fog of war. Now, I wouldn't say this map is too close to the historical battlefield. It doesn't seem that mountainous, right? But it is fairly hilly, and there is a lot of locations where if you really wanted to, you could use the reverse slope defense and they're kind of doing that somewhat here, the British. Kind of, not exactly, but they're not quite on the very top of the slope. They're definitely, or on the hill. They're a little bit on the slope, is what I was trying to say. Let's go back over here. Let's see what the French do here. This is going to be a big part of the battle because it seems almost like a 1v1. Now, there is one British, Portuguese army that is, they spawned right here. So they're going to kind of be a reinforcement force and just kind of go where they're needed. They might send some troops over here to help out this, this Anglo force. But it really just depends. This is going to be very much a 1v1 over here, and it's going to be pretty big. The French might be able to turn the tide or change history of this battle by winning right here. It's really going to come down to who's the better player or who has the better resources in terms of their troops. But the skill of the player, of course, is also going to come into effect. But nice, we've got... Oh, I can actually see the names of the unit. Oh, wait, no, sorry. That's a British unit. I was like thinking this was a French unit. And I'm like, I can read their name. No, it hides the name of the units that your enemy is using because it prevents you from seeing the capability of said unit. Because if you look at some of these units, just for anyone who doesn't play this mod, you notice how there's a square before it says 97? That means that this unit can form... Sorry, this is really loud. The cannons are going off. That means they can form square. And they hide that so the enemy can't know that. The only way you can know that is just identifying their uniforms. All right, here we go. So the French are forming up. The artillery has begun to bombard these troops. The French have set up a little bit on a slope here, and they are opening fire as well. This looks like a smaller, like 6-pounder foot artillery or something. They're opening fire, and I think they're going for the British artillery. So, really, guys, the battle has begun. And, oh, well, the silencers. Oh, there goes the cannons. Yeah, sometimes we get a little bit of a sound bug. It should correct itself out, though. So, look at this poor soul right here, already fallen. It must have been a cannonball. But a nice setup here of stakes. To try to prevent any cav charges going into the artillery. I like that setup. That's why it's always good. I feel like in NTW3, lights aren't as strong, per se, compared to vanilla Napoleon. But they have the capability of throwing stakes down, and that is huge. Oh, nice little volley right there. That is huge. Because it, again, prevents cav from coming over. And it's almost like these are camouflaged with the ground. It just very much blends in with the ground. So maybe we'll get lucky and see some cav charge into some stakes. Not lucky for the horses, that's for sure. But lucky for our entertainment. So yeah, nice little... I love the start of this battle. You know, classic artillery bombardment. You got lights moving in now. Pretty soon, the line infantry, the heavy infantry is going to move in as well. Now, let's go back over this way to the center. Things have popped off a little bit with the artillery on the slope. We got multiple rows of stakes defending their artillery position. And it even looks like we've got some cav squaring off. Not engaging, but just getting a little peekaboo. you know, hey, you know, hello, fellow scout cav, hello. You know, they're just kind of saying hello to each other and just gauging what to expect from each other's forces. Let's go back over to this side because I feel like this is where the battle's going to start right here. We could be wrong. It could start off, you know, really, really fast, but then slow down. But right now, it's just constant artillery and lights just kind of shooting, popping at each other, you know, saying hello in the worst way possible. You know, how's it going? Boom. Not well, you know. Thanks. Anyways. Yeah, they're just kind of kneeling down here and just holding fire. It looks like the French have to move up a little bit to maybe get in range here. Yeah, there it is. There it is. On open fire. There it is. Yep. Opening fire. These guys are getting some great early shots. I love this. I love the slow... Oh, there's a nice return volley from the French lights. But this is good. Good stuff. I love the slow pace of this. And now we've got more rifles moving up. Royal American. The 60th Royal American Rifles. The Jaegers. That's pretty cool. Their position is not great over here. Got a little bit of a slope in the way. But I think some of the men have an angle. Looks like most of them are shooting in the dirt. Like, what are you doing? But they have a little bit of an angle on the French lights. And the British have a decent amount of lights here. They really do. Compared to the French. I think the French are going to just have to... Let's see, what are they doing here with the cav? Oh, this is rough for the cav. This is a tricky spot to be because they could... There's no retreat here. There's not a lot of space to maneuver. So if they do... Yeah, they go. Yeah, they're like, no, 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 no. Yeah, that's not a good angle to be at with the cav. Let's see what the French do here. We might get a big cav charge building up really quick. Hold on. Let's just... I'm going to wait here. I'm just going to check the other side of the battle. But I might stay here because the French are looking frisky. The French are looking frisky and not friendly. Let's see. Are they going to go in? Again, I think they're just kind of getting a visual of what's potentially could be, because they've got a fog of war. We can see the Anglo forces, but they have a fog of war as well. So they're probably just kind of testing the waters and seeing what may be waiting for them. But it doesn't look like there's much. If they do commit, they might overwhelm the British cav here. I think they are. They're gonna commit. Come on, commit. Oh, they're going. They're too close now to let them go. And the British clearly know they're outnumbered and they constantly fall back. We got camps in the way. They gotta politely move around. And wow, I mean, there's the engagement, guys. I mean, I don't know what the heck the British were thinking there. I mean, it's like they were indecisive. They weren't sure to fall back or to engage, but in their indecisiveness, the French have crushed these forces. And there's two British cav gone. We've got infantry trying to show up as reinforcements. They might be able to pop some shots here, but the French should be able to get out of there really quick. And wow, the sound bug, I do apologize. It's still going. Again, it should, I think as troops died. Oh, wait, the British are recovering. The British are recovering. They still got this. Oh, they're starting to break though. But the support of the line infantry. Okay, while this is going on, there's the sound. There's the screaming that we were waiting for. The yelling from the troops. Let's go back over this way because this is starting to get frisky as well. Oh, we got some French cav breaking from the fight. The French have moved up some lights and very similar, just like the other side of the battle. It's beginning with artillery fire and light infantry movement. Again, just kind of probing each other and just slowly engaging. This is very, normal, very to be expected type of engagements here. But we've yet to really see too much of the line infantry from the French on this side. And again, if I'm the French here, I would play this slow on this side. I think this is going to be a big contested fight. But over here, this is your path to victory. If the French can crush this army, this is promising. And I'd say so far the French are doing decent. I think they did a number to that British cav, even though the British infantry showed up and laid down the law a little bit and caused some breakage. I think these guys will return to the fight. And overall, I would say that was a nice engagement for the French. It wasn't like perfectly clean, but it was definitely in their advantage. Now we have artillery still shelling, just constantly shelling. And this is going to be a battle of artillery at this point. Let's see. They've got this unit that's lost 7 men. They've lost 7 men, and then their other artillery over here is still perfectly healthy with 20 men. So I think the French artillery is focusing most of their fire on this one cannon. So they're kind of going for one cannon at a time. Hold on. Let's go to the other side, guys, because there's the French infantry. There it is. Look at these lads. They're ready to take Portugal right here, right now. And yeah, this is a beautiful sight here. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a gruesome fight. The lights are now in the thick of it. The French kneeling here, probably getting their reloads. I don't know what they're doing sometimes. There it is. There it is. Sometimes they wait a little bit to fire, you know? So they're kind of putting down suppressing fire. We got Cav charging in. The British are clearly going to win this engagement. They've got extra support. Another Cav unit coming in as well. And I don't know what the French were I think the French were going for a charge on some of these light units, but it does not pay off. And now, if anything, if I'm the British, I'd probably try to charge at least one unit to try to take out the French lights here. The French have a lot of light infantry. We've got artillery moving closer. They probably could set up this artillery, but look at this, guys. Look at the position. So let's say they set up the artillery here. The British are using a historical tactic. The slope of the hill will protect their men. Look. If they set up right here, how many troops can you see? Nothing. You can see only the lights in the cav, and you see the flags of the units over the hills, maybe some bayonets, but you don't really see the infantry. You don't have a clear shot. And here we go. The British are going, the Anglo-Portuguese are going for the lights. That's what I mentioned earlier, but nice stand by the lights, and they actually break the cav, which is tragic. Now we have more British cav. This one should be a bit more successful in bringing down these lights. A really good charge right there by the Anglo-Portuguese. I might just refer to them as Anglo, guys. If you're Portuguese, don't be offended. It's more for just convenience because Anglo-Portuguese is a mouthful when you're trying to do quick, commentary. So just know when I just say Anglo, I mean Anglo-Portuguese. The French are going in for a counter charge. I don't think they're going to be able to really get to them. Actually, hold on. They are getting to them. But the question is, how far will they follow them into enemy lines? We'll see. All right, so there we go. Things are really starting to pop off here. A lot of French forces getting to the front line, and pretty soon we're going to see some line infantry do some battle. You can see that they're even breaking the lights here because, guys, don't leave your lights fighting line infantry. They will be outgunned if the line infantry can reach them. And now the French are breaking from that engagement. They get a little too greedy, I think, for the French forces. Here we go. Now the French are moving forward their line infantry as well over here. He's got his lights in range of the line infantry. The artillery is starting to break, guys. They are down to 11 men. It even looks like he's trying to evacuate this by limbering it up, trying to get it out of there. This artillery crew still at 19 now. I think they're getting, I think the one guy who died is from the light units. And here's a little trick, guys. You see how he's using grape shot? Well, it's pretty ineffective against light units. It doesn't really reach them. It might get 1 or 2 guys, but it's not too deadly from this distance. So we'll see what happens. It almost looks like it could be moving forward, the artillery. I don't know. Let's go back over to the other side, guys, because, guys, things are really popping off now. It is really getting intense. Here comes some French cav up the center, up the gut, looking for vulnerable targets. He sees one. It's the artillery. He's going for the kill, and he should be able to wipe out this artillery. The British had, or the Anglo-Portuguese had some cav nearby, but they responded way too late. And the question is, did they do enough to save the artillery? Yes, they did, but they're down to 9 men. And I think the artillery is kind of stuck here now. So it still might be able to function, but the crew's running away. It looks like they were going to send in another unit of cav to support that initial cav charge, but they decided to fall back because the Anglo forces decided to regroup quickly. And this looks really promising for the French. It looks really good here. This is so juicy. I love this mod. It is just so epic. So epic. Look at the red coats here, doing the best they can to maintain this defensive position, but the French are hitting them hard with a long, thick line of Frenchmen like a baguette. Like a big baguette. Nice. Good defense. It looks like the British are doing a little bit better here, mostly because of the terrain. But over here, it's definitely looks concerning. And it almost looks like they're going in with an infantry charge. They say, screw this. We're going in. Bayonets blazing. Bayonets leading the way. And the British caused them to break. That was a ballsy move by the French. But, and then we got more infantry trying to follow up. And we got more reinforcements coming in from the British. Things are getting really intense here with all the bayonets being tossed into the front line. And blood is just squirting everywhere. We got the flag bearer, the honorable flag bearer in the thick of it. Oh no! He goes down with a quick jab of a French bayonet into the chest. But I think the man who killed him just met his own doom there as the British fight on in close combat. This is getting really messy, really fast. Now, if we go to the other side, guys, much slower pace. More of a gunfight here. Less charging. So just to kind of keep you up to date over on this side, it looks like the units are just, exchanging lead. And for now, that's what they're going to continue to do. On this side, it is just pure chaos. Mass casualties, mass death as both forces clash in the center. Look at the chaos of this fight. As more units are coming in. I know NTW3 has a specific rule about you can't, mass charge infantry in a big dump because it affects the morale incorrectly. So it's yeah, you got to be careful. I don't know exactly. Maybe someone can clarify in the comments down below, because I'm no NTW3 expert. I mean, some of you guys might listen to my commentary and you're like, well, obviously, no duh. Nice volley by the Highlanders. Yeah, I knew that was gonna. You charging Highlanders? Good luck. Especially when they get a good volley on you. And they're gonna pursue, and then we got a fresh line of French setting up here. It's almost like the French were throwing in sacrificial units to disrupt the British line infantry, and then the French reestablished their lines. And now the British are giving them a taste of their own medicine. They're charging in. This is actually a Portuguese unit. They're charging in. But I think the same thing's going to happen to them. Oh, artillery is striking right near the front line as well. And look at this beautiful front line. Now we've got Cav. Look at this. Cav charging in, fighting a British foot. This is the Scots, the foot guards. And they're fighting on. The French charging forward, more Cav, trying to support their infantry that is losing, that is breaking from the fight. Oh, wait, what's going on over here? Hold on, look at this, the British. Where did this come from? They must have peeled a unit over this way. The British have completely flanked the French position. and the French are having to rapidly pull out of there and reorganize their men. The French over here should mobilize these troops and support and counterflank, because this could be disaster for the French forces. This could be terrible. They've got to regroup and reorganize. Get your cav out of there. The cav is out of position. They could get shot at. Yeah, the infantry needs to reform, reorganize, and where the British were once on the defense, now it feels like it's reversed. The French are on the defense, and the British are making a move to the French position. And the question is, what are these men going to do over here? They are not going to send reinforcements. Look at this. I thought at least send like 3 units, right? Send 3 units down this way just to counterflank the British here. Oh man, we'll see. We'll see. Things are unraveling so quickly. Here comes some cav. We got French cav. They're going to charge into the British cav to prevent them from charging into their infantry. The infantry should support them. Do a couple pop shots into the cav. Here we go. Yes, sir. And that should cause this cav to break. Good defensive stand by the French cav there. Gotta just stop the bleeding. Stop the bleeding. And it doesn't look like it's gonna stop. The British have a really good position here. But you never know. The French might crawl out of this one. Now, all the French forces that could have flanked around and helped over there decided to come this way. It looks like they want to more focus on the fight here. And it does look like this is bloody. This is really intense here. It does look like the British center could be faltering. They could be breaking here. It's tough to say. It's still too early. I mean, this mod... Oh, wow. Cav charge or something. I saw men flying across the screen. Yeah, the French defense here is, I think, just chaos. It's unraveling. We've got a decent line here. Let's just get a bird's eye view, right? So we can really see what's going on. We've got a decent line here. The French look good too. In the center, it looks like it's in favor of the French, but both sides really in the center have taken casualties, but it does look like the French are doing well. On this front over here, oh my gosh, look at the mass melee. I gotta get a close-up of this. This is crazy. So the French look like they're going to come out on top in that mass melee, but the British are holding well here on this hillside. So the center, the problem here for the Anglo-Portuguese is that the center is collapsing, and that's going to allow the French to push in and flank around both of the two British defenses. Now back this way, hold up, look at this. We got some French cav behind the scenes, and yeah, the British are trying to prevent this cav, which they do. And things are unraveling here. This actually looks like a defeat for the French. I just don't see the French recovering from this. They've got completely outmaneuvered on this side. And the British, this is a this is good news if you're rooting for the Anglo-Portuguese side, right? Because if they can clean up this French army, at least most of it, they can start to transfer their units over to this main fight, which does not seem to be going as well. There goes a good charge by the French. It doesn't seem to be going as well for the Anglo-Portuguese. But we'll see. We'll see. It's, oh, the big cav engagement in the center. Look at this battle. Nice volley there by the French. Just really enjoying the sights and sounds of this battle. Here comes a charge from the French, and they're just getting in the thick of it. And I think they're going for, I think they know that time is against them. Like the French, they know the time is against them because their ally on the far side is losing his battle. So I think they're just going to get as aggressive as possible and try to break down as much of this British defense as possible. And it looks like it's going very well, guys. The British need to regroup. Honestly, they need to just accept their losses and regroup, consolidate their forces. You can see he's sending up more units to this front. Just give it up. Limber up this cannon. Fall back. I don't know, maybe fall back to this little town here. Just pick a different position to fall back to and just try to lick your wounds and battle your way out of this tricky situation, but it's not looking good. The British now getting charged in the rear here by the French cav, breaking these men. French units, French cav included, trying to stop the bleeding, but I just feel like this is going to be a fruitless endeavor. I think this is just going to lead to more mass casualties for the British. Let's go back over here. Yes, the British have officially defeated the French forces. This is really, really good, and they're following them because they want to make sure they don't return, because many times you'll see a mass rout and these units, they collect themselves, they calm down, and they regroup. The French do have some units that are not breaking, but he's falling back regardless because I don't think he wants to see his entire army routed. That's smart. That is really smart, because once this British army stops pursuing and turns their forces, which they're already doing, you can see they're turning multiple units over to help against the French mass there. Once they do that, they now have to worry about this French force that can turn around and start going for them. So it's a tricky situation, but I think this is a smart play by the British player here, the British Portuguese player, because he needs to desperately link up with his allies and create a mass. They need to turn this around. Like, they need to, like, an epic flank or an epic charge to try to overwhelm the French. Nice little square formation of the 42nd Royal Highlander, the Black Watch. But there's so much. There's so many French forces that they're going to have to deal with. Awesome battle. The British, though, I gotta give them credit. They've kind of stopped the bleeding here in this defense, causing a lot of morale loss in the French forces. Let's get some more close-ups of this battle, because I don't even really know how to commentate on this situation. It's just so chaotic. Yes, sir. Oh, nice volleys here. I just love the crackle of the guns. Nice little square formation by the infantry.
The men are fatigued.
Just trying to hold multiple flanks. It's a losing battle. And look at the sight of this battlefield. Look at all the units running around and the battles unraveling. More aggressive cav play by the French forces, trying to mass rout the British before reinforcements arrive. The British countercharge with their own cav, trying to break the French. That's actually pretty big here. If they can break through this French line, see, they're going to pinball around. They're going to go for the French cav, but they break. But yeah, this is good. This unit, if they can get around, and they could do some major damage. Okay, let's look at this. Look at the tactics here. This French force is kind of cut off from this other French force. Oh, look at this, guys. A lot of French units are breaking. The British might be able to pull off this stand, and I think that's why the French are falling back now. They realize that their flank is in jeopardy, and they could easily be outmaneuvered here, so they're going to accept their losses, and I think the French are now having to consolidate. They are now, because there's a wedge between their two forces, and there's cav behind them. It's a mess, and this is a smart play by the French player. And here we go. Oh, stop and shoot the cav. Stop and shoot the cav. Tie him up with a small... Yep, he's going to tie him up with a small cav unit. And then hold your infantry. Yes! Yes, and fire at that cav. Yes, they broke him. Nice. Great play. Great play by the French. And the French cav even survived that engagement. So good on them. And we've got another French cav here. So this now will This will now let the French to kind of calm down a little bit. They don't have to fall back anymore. It looks like they're just kind of pulling towards the center, getting closer to their French ally. And this is good over here by this French army as well. There's a very intense battle in this small little village here, but half of the French army has decided to cut away and converge on the center so they can hit these British troops from two sides. Guys, this is why I love this game. There's times when it feels one-sided, but all it takes is a quick maneuver, a epic tactic that can turn the tide, and it happens all the time in this game, in this mod in particular. More Anglo-Portuguese firing down on the French. The French having to maneuver here. They're going to take unnecessary casualties from these guys as they shift over more towards the center. The British are, of course, going to trail the French here and try to do as much damage to them. Oh, we got a death of a general. Loyal Piper. His general has fallen. Now, he's part of the Anglo-Portuguese side, and he's actually the person who sent in the battle replay. His general has died. This could cause a chain rout for these forces, and the French are just going to encircle these breaking British. And now the French can regroup, but the British do have another healthy cav unit. This could be a threat. Look how cool this just looks so cool here. Seeing all these troops, and you see the cav here running. My goodness, look at the carnage. Look at the carnage of this fight. The bodies that carpet the slope of this hill. That is nasty. That is pretty crazy. Here comes a nice charge from the British. The British getting aggressive here, trying to break these units, and they most certainly will because those units are fairly weak. They're going to just keep pushing, though. How far can they push? Well, their morale is still very high, but I don't think they can push much further. Yeah, they're just getting in the thick of it, charging whoever's nearby. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. The French are actually still falling back. They got their units in very thin columns. I think they're trying to avoid as many casualties as possible. They're trying to get the heck out of there. The British are... This is mostly the British army, I believe, that was fighting over here. Actually, guys, the French could turn this around. At the French general, they're going to take this hill, and I think they're going to make a stand here. And then we've got a small pocket of French units that could come around and flank these guys. That's the challenging situation for the British here. It's like, how much can you pursue these French and at the same time send over reinforcements on the other? So you're fighting a two-front war. You're having to micro a ton. There we go. The French, I think, are going to make their stand right here. And, oh, look at this cav charge going around the British-Portuguese forces. Great charge on these lights. They're not going to kill them, though. They're going to disengage because the British have some cav nearby. From Dragoons, the Royals. They got a good charge, but, man, it was not enough. Good stand there. Good reaction by Wellington himself. This is Wellington's army, who, of course, is performing so well. But they find themselves in a heated line battle as the French make their stand. But there's many French units here that are on the verge of cracking. Wow, look at the flash of gunfire. It looks so cool. And you can see their silhouette through the smoke thanks to the fire. Oh, that's so awesome. Now the French, big chunk, a big hole in their lines. They're breaking. And the British over here are pursuing. Look at, they're leaving behind. Look at the carpet of dead here, guys. I mean, this fight has been absolutely brutal. Both forces just brutally fighting, guys. It's just so intense. But the British, yeah, they're advancing forward because They're fighting like a... The French are like back to back almost, fighting in this center. This is going to be intensely close. Let's see what's going on here. I think the French are going to win this engagement, especially because they have flanking units on the side. Yeah, the French are going to defeat this small section of British forces because I just don't... They sent too many reinforcements over to this side. Oh my gosh. We got bayonets going in, cav going in as well. Trying to kill this cav. Cav is huge in this game, guys, like most Total War games. Cav can be very, very beneficial. Even if you're outnumbered, if you get a good charge, you can cause a mass rout. So the sooner the French defeat the British cav, the more likely they can pull out a victory here. But the British are doing a great job. Look at this. The French finding themselves surrounded. This is not looking good for the French. I think the British are going to recover here. It's such a close fight. Here we go. They're going to open fire. So cool. And the... Oh, man. I don't know. It's tough. I think the British... Let's see. The French cav... Let's keep it... Oh, the French cav is losing to British cav. If the French lose this engagement, this could be disaster. It's already feeling like the French cannot recover from this. Oh, they stand. They stand against the British. French are regrouping. Oh no, the British are cutting right up the center. Oh, this is definitely going to be an Anglo-Portuguese victory here. It's definitely going to be the case. But guys, let's not forget about this engagement here. And this is a smart play. I know it's probably the boring play, but it's the smart play. What's left of these Anglo-Portuguese are falling back to the safety of their allies who are currently winning and defeating the French invasion force. But I think look at this mini map. Look at all the breaking units from both sides really. And you can see the blue here represents the Lollipop Guild. No, blue represents the Anglo-Portuguese. The red represents the French. The French really only have one more unit, and it's the general unit right here who's going for a suicidal charge. And yeah, it's going to lead to his demise. He knows that. So, the question is, it's going to come down to this. This is going to be... What an ending to this fight. So we got some artillery kind of shooting at each other. That's, you know, that's whatever. We got one unit of one unit of infantry kind of protecting it. And these guys are chasing the British. What I assume is going to happen is these British forces are going to link up with their victorious British forces who are defeating these French. And it's going to come down to this French force to whatever's left of the British Portuguese or Anglo-Portuguese. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think I'm going to do some fast forwarding though, because this is mostly just an army chasing, and that is not the most exciting thing. Okay, I've only really fast forward a little bit, and this looks really tactically like interesting, so I wanted to show you this. The French have decided to stop pursuing the British and actually move to their artillery. That's actually a really smart play. They want to move to the artillery and protect it, and that's going to help give them an advantage over the overwhelming British numbers, right? Because the French are outnumbered at this point, but the artillery can be the equalizer. It can make it so those numbers aren't as effective because of the strong, you know, artillery presence. So this is a smart play by the French to link up with his artillery and kind of make a defensive stand here. But technically, the French technically the French have to... They have to... Oh, whoa.
Now they must break.
Oh, okay, not a big deal. I think he was breaking anyways, so... Anyways, I think... What was I saying? The French have to attack, so I don't think they can just sit here. Because remember, the LOC, they've got to take over these buildings. And I don't think they're going to do it. I just don't think they're going to do it. This building was destroyed. So I think, to my understanding, if you destroy the building, the points go to the enemy, right? So you don't want to destroy the building. So that's one thing to keep... At least that's what I remember. I could be mistaken there. But we'll see what happens. Are the British just going to sit back? I think they're going to regroup and push. We got to wait and see. All right, guys. So we did a little bit of fast forwarding here, and I just wanted to show you the progress of the troop formation. It looks like, too, the French might be pushing up to engage, and sure enough, they are. And look at this. Look at this. This vantage point here. This view. That's kind of cool. Anyways, they're going to take on a flanking British force. And the British are doing exactly what they need to be doing here. They need to use their numbers to just push basically all around the French. And they want to make sure that they just encircle the French because they have the numbers. If they take on the French head on, it could lead to a defeat. Anyways, we got some muskets that have silencers on them. Pew, 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 pew. They're not even playing the sound. I don't know if it's because I fast forward the replay and it just screws up the sound. But the French kind of closed in and they regret that decision. They're now falling back. The British have pushed forward a unit from the building. There's 2 units in here. They decided to push out a unit to try to shoot at the artillery from behind. The French actually make a stand here and they pull back 1 unit of guns. And wow, why is there like no sound? There's like sound, but let me just pause it and play. This is... Look at this. There we go. What? Come on. This is the epic finale. You're going to do this now to me, game? Like, what are you doing? What are you... Well, it's going to eventually fix itself. There's not much we can do about it. This is classic Napoleon here. Where I'm just hearing marching drums. I just hear drums beating. All the sound is completely gone. Come on now, please. Anyways, I'll just pew 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 pew. There we go. There's some marching sound effects. Here comes some cav. They're going in for a charge against the artillery. The French counter charge. There's my sound. There's my sound. Yeah, this is looking like a uphill battle for the French. The French cav is breaking with the sheer weight of the British Portuguese cav. They're losing their artillery. And at this point, guys, it is certainly looking like it is going to... history is going to repeat itself here. And the British Portuguese combined forces are going to take victory and close in on the French. The French are hanging on for dear life. They're forming a last stand situation, a defensive box to try to deal with all the angles that the British are attacking from. At this point, I think I would just like charge in all directions and try to cause a mass rout or something. I think if you just sit back, I mean, there's just too many. I mean, there's just way too many. There's the British charging in. And they're going to... Oh, nice little volley there. But, yeah, these guys are going to break. And that's our battle, guys. That was a great battle. Back and forth. Very bloody over here at this main defense. I really enjoyed this one. And it was a historical scenario, so that's also very cool. Now, here are the results, guys, of the fight. Once again, big thank you to Loyal Piper for sending in this battle replay. This was a good one. We can see the stats here a little bit of, I think, Royal Piper's army, who's playing as Wellington. And you can see he got some good kills with his foot guard, his Highlanders. Very cool stuff indeed. But I hope you guys enjoyed the battle. I hope it was everything that you hoped for, and it was just as fun watching as it was for me and commentating over it. I appreciate all the support, guys. And again, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time on the battlefield.